Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will speak to you this morning about our new Khundii Minerals District in southwestern Mongolia, our standard forward-looking statements. We are the first movers in an unexplored portion of the Central Asian orogenic belt in southwestern Mongolia. We have a high-grade gold mine under development. We expect to see first gold as we move through this summer of this year. We have multi-million ounce potential, a number of projects in the pipeline that I'll share with you today. We have partnered with one of Mongolia's leading mining companies, bringing together the leading miner and explorer in the country. And we have what we consider a sleeping giant in the Zunmab molybdenum project. This map shows you the district in which we work in southwestern Mongolia. And back in 2010, the USGS came out with a study noting this to be one of the highest potential areas for the discovery of gold and copper in the greater Asia region. But they also noticed that its remoteness, its harsh terrain, and lack of infrastructure prevented discoveries from being made. At the point that this study came out, we had already been in this area for 5 years and have dedicated the last 20 years of our business to exploration in what's now known as the Trans-Altai district. So we were well ahead of the curve as first movers in this district, but that remoteness and that lack of infrastructure has changed dramatically in southern Mongolia. When I arrived in the late 90s, it was 1,000 kilometers from railheads and blacktop highways. Today, as you can see in this map, numerous mines, blacktop highways, railways being built on both sides of the border. So that infrastructure has come to us as we've developed an understanding of this very rich new belt in southwestern Mongolia. This is an image of the current deposits that we have developed. We have the Bayan Khundii deposit where that first mine is taking shape. 16 kilometers north of that, the Erdene Gold Project that we expect to be a second development in the region. And then 35 kilometers east of that, the very large Zinc Molybdenum Copper Project. So we see this as the makings of a multi-mine, multi-commodity district. But I just reiterate that this area has seen no previous exploration. We're the first modern geologists out there, and there's many more discoveries to come. We entered into a relationship with Mongolia's largest private miner, MMC Corp, and this outlines how our business is currently structured. On the left-hand side, you see this 50-50 joint venture over the gold assets. In the middle of the page, we've retained a 5% NSR once we hit 400,000 ounces. So any new mines that are developed in this region will have that 5% kicker at the back end. And really, when you look at the economics of that and you convert that 5% to a net profits, it's more of a 60-40 split as we hit stride with new developments down the road. On the far right, we have a second subsidiary known as Erdene Resources, and that holds a 100% interest in our molybdenum copper project and will also be the vehicle we'll use for other acquisitions in the country. We've secured approximately 170 million US in financing, 40 million from MMC in debt, and another 80 million in a shareholder loan. And in December, we announced a $50 million working capital loan from TD Bank in Mongolia. So fully funded with working capital cushion to move our initial project through to first gold. Some of our major shareholders include the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, as well as Mr. Eric Sprott, who's one of the most well-known investors in the junior and development stage gold projects in Canada. I meant to mention at the bottom of that last page, we are also the only dual-listed company on the Mongolian Stock Exchange. We have 7,000 Mongolian shareholders who have done quite well in investing in our company, but it's really opened up the investment side to investors in that country. So on to the Bayan Khundii Gold Project. We have a focus on these high-grade, near-surface deposits. We made a strategic decision back in 2019 that we would move towards cash flow as opposed to equity dilution, get to that cash flow and begin to explore this very exciting new district. The foundation for that is in the Bayan Khundii deposit and a satellite deposit at Dark Horse, where we have one of the highest grade open pit head grades that you'll see in the business today at 4 grams per ton, and a tremendous amount of upside beyond that. You can see that upside to some extent in this image, which shows the outlines of the pits and this very large shell of low-grade gold around that. Our production profile will see us producing about 476,000 ounces in the first 6 years at a head grade of 4 grams per ton. That will start later this year with first gold in August, and we'll move to commercial production in October of this year at about 7,000 ounces per month. I'll share with you the upside beyond this 6-year reserve as we move into the presentation. Just a quick snapshot on the economics. This is a very high margin, low cost mine. We will come in on CapEx at around 115 million. The all-in sustaining costs is from the 2023 feasibility. I'd suggest that's closer to about 1,050 today when we start to hit stride. The NPV is at $1,800 gold, so that'll effectively double at current gold price. This is a shot of the site as it looked a few weeks ago. We're getting very close to completion. We're effectively at 85% today. You can see the plant pit on the left-hand side, carbon and pulp plant, which will handle about 1950 ton per day with 93% recovery. Just a quick snapshot of some of the facilities that are being built around the site. 5 kilometers north of the mine, we have a camp that's almost complete for 370 people. We have an overhead transmission line that's been built 240 kilometers to the border area to bring power in to support the project. And some more shots of the facility as it nears completion. We had the benefit of bringing in an EPC contractor who had just completed much of the work at Oyu Tolgoi, so really cut their teeth there and have done a tremendous job of moving us along near budget and schedule. We, as I mentioned, expect to be completing the build as we move through Q2, going through commissioning, wet commissioning in July, first gold in August, and then moving to commercial later this year. Coming back to the exploration upside, you can see on this map at the bottom of the page, Bayan Khundii. Adjacent to that, effectively in the same system, we have 2 new discoveries we've made in the last few years, Ulan and Dark Horse, very high grade, shallow discoveries, 16 kilometers north, the Altan Nar discovery, and then 35 kilometers to the east, Zunmad. I'd just like to stress that these are extremely high grades for near surface discoveries. You can cast your eye over those gram meter numbers in the column to the right, but it's not unusual for us to see 200 to 600 gram meter intersections from surface down to 150 meters. This is some information we just released yesterday on our infill drill results, and this is just in the top 15 meters from surface. You can see on the far right the 5 gram contour, and these are some of the highlights of the intersections that we released yesterday within from a meter to 15 meters depth. So unusually high grade. In most cases, if you found this in other districts around the world, they would be mined out very rapidly. In October of last year, we stepped out west of the pit, and we are hitting 40 meters of 7, 20 meters of 6 within a couple of meters of the planned pit. So readily available expansion opportunities for the Bayan Khundii mine. Our most recent discovery at Ulan, this is half a kilometer to the west. Again, you know, this was the only blind top discovery. Everything else was at surface. But from 80 meters depth, we're hitting 20 to 40 meters of 8 gram material. And the deepest hole we drilled here at 450 meters remains in gold. So just a tremendously robust system that has a lot more to give as we continue our exploration. 2.5 kilometers north of the mine site, we've developed rapidly a reserve on a small area, 40,000 ounces of 7 grams at Dark Horse, effectively from surface. And we moved quickly on that so we could bring it into the mine plan in year 3, but we've left open a very large area for exploration as we move forward. Altan Nar, as I mentioned earlier, 16 kilometers north. This project was left to the side to some extent when we discovered Bayan Khundii, but it already is 500,000 ounces of 2 grams with significant silver, lead, and zinc byproduct. We'll get back to that one next year and start to move that into the queue. Zunmad, one of Asia's largest undeveloped molybdenum deposits with copper targets as well. We'll begin to move more aggressively with this project as we move through the course of this year. In summary, we have a 5-year plan in front of us that allows us to look at a sequential growth of this district. We're obviously focused today on getting Bayan Khundii up to steady state, but as I shared with you, the expansion potential around that is enormous in the shadow of the head frame at Dark Horse at Ulan. So we see a long life mine plan at Bayan Khundii. We'll move on to Altan Nar and collectively see that as 150 to 200,000 ounces per year. And the district is ripe for new discoveries. You know, we just are getting started. There's been no exploration here previously. Looking at our capital structure, we have a market cap of about 200 million US today. We've returned to our investors very strong returns over the last year and the last few years. A very strong shareholder base with institutional interest across Asia, North America, and Europe. And just to sum things up, we have a re-rating underway. We obviously have wind at our back with gold price, so you'll continue to see that with our share price. But the real excitement here is this new district with a likelihood of many more discoveries to come. Thank you very much for your time.